What's going on? VitalSyntax here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys another Skyrim mod. This is a graphical enhancement mod, and it's called Sharpshooters ENB Extreme Graphics Overhaul, and there'll be a link in the description so you guys can download this for yourself, and I strongly recommend everybody does, unless your computer can't handle it, and I'll get over the frame rate hit and performance in a little bit. But this mod's only available in the Skyrim Nexus form. You're not going to be able to install this through the Steam Workshop because it doesn't install to the data folder, it installs to the Skyrim root directory. So in this video what I want to do is go over some of the features that this mod has and try and show you guys those features on this video. So when I first installed this mod, the first thing that I noticed was how vibrant trees and plant life looked. So looking at this tree right here, you can see the branches are incredibly lush and green and vivid, and it just makes the saturation a lot higher. That's one of the ways they did it. They also increased the contrast, so lighter areas look lighter. For example, the mountains up there in the background look very bright, and at the same time darker areas look darker. They've also added a thing called ambient occlusion. I believe they're using SSAO to achieve this, and that makes dark shadows. So for example, the trunk of this tree beneath each of these branches looks a lot darker, and overall it just makes the game look a lot more realistic. They've also added a thing called bloom, which I'll be able to show you in a second. A couple other things like the dynamic depth of field, which is my personal favorite thing that they've added in. Basically what that does is your depth of field is what you're looking at will determine the blurriness of everything around you. So if you think about in real life, if you're using a camera or if you're just looking at something through your eyes, either a camera or through your eyes, you'll notice that when you're looking at something up close, things in the background will get blurry. So watch as this guy approaches me, you can see everything in the background is getting nice and blurred. And when texture or when areas of the map or different objects have light on them, for example, the roof of the tin roof back here is very bright, it kind of gives that blurry effect that's called bloom. So I'm right here, you can see the top of the roof back here is very bright white, and it's showing the reflection of the sun very well. So I think this mod just is so cool because it's a great way for taking screenshots and making really cool looking videos and stuff. But at the same time, playing like this is just so amazing, and it like everything, and from combat to just walking around in the wild, the saturation contrast make it so much more vibrant. But also this change of dynamic depth of field just makes it so much more immersive and so much more realistic. And I really haven't seen a mod like this at all. I know you can get the dynamic depth of field mod by itself, and Sharpshooter, the guy who made this ENB mod, has just implemented it in his mod because it's kind of like an open resource. Anybody can use it in their mods and whatnot. And I think he did a really good job with it. So you can see the Riverwood Trader sign is extremely good looking, high res. I believe I have a high res texture pack that's making all the road signs look better. But in the background you can see the trees and stuff are extremely blurry. Another way to see this is if I pull out an arrow, you'll notice that the part that's closest to me where the feathers are is nice and blurred because your eyes are focusing on that tip of the arrow and everything else should be blurred. So that's pretty cool. It also adds a sun glare effect. I don't know if I'll be able to show you that too well because the sun's really high in the sky. Right there you can see it a little bit. I think they did a really good job with the sun glare too. I've seen a couple other sun glares, and I think I've even reviewed a couple sun glares on my YouTube channel for Skyrim, but this one's by far the best. It looks the most realistic to me. They've also changed some of the physics of the water. Water looks a lot more clear and just tasty, I guess I should say. Looks a lot more blue and green in certain areas, and I think they fixed some of the water flow, the way that the water moves depending on you know, the way it should move, but I'm not positive about that. It just overall makes the game look a lot more realistic and a lot more beautiful. Now the problem with this mod is that it has a huge hit on performance, by far the biggest hit on performance I've ever seen in a mod. I typically run Skyrim at max settings with no mods installed at 60 to 70 FPS in exterior areas, and probably like 80 to 90 on interior areas. But with this mod installed, I'm getting like 40, maybe even 30 to 40 FPS on exterior areas. It never really drops below 30, which is really the biggest key factor that I don't want it to drop below. and then on interior areas I get somewhere between 50 and 60 FPS. So it's bearable, but at the same time I'm running a GTX 680, or sorry, not 680, 570. I wish I had a 680. That's what my head was thinking. But in my opinion, a game like this that doesn't really require an extreme FPS to have an advantage, something like Battlefield or a competitive first-person shooter, you really want all the FPS you can, because you'll have a slight advantage if you're seeing what everybody else should be seeing a little bit faster than them. But something like Skyrim, it's not competitive, you're just roaming around. So as long as it's not hurting your eyes, which for me a 30 FPS is really what's going to give me a headache, then I think that it's acceptable. So definitely check this mod out for you guys, for yourself, if you are on the PC and you have a computer that's already running the game pretty well. Or maybe you can turn down some of the graphics if you'd rather have lower textures to enable this dynamic depth of field and just the realistic lighting and stuff that this mod offers. So thanks for checking out my review of this mod, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.